Me.
Iman, you staying here?
I'm here to then go for.
Come on.
That's beautiful. Okay, that's it. That's fantastic.
Look up to the left.
Iman. Her name means faith in Arabic, magnet in Spanish. Faith and magnetism are certainly the two features that strike those who approach her. Iman believed in her success and captivated all those who laid eyes upon her. The first colored top model, Iman has enhanced the world of beauty and fashion for the last 20 years. Her marriage to worldwide famous rock star David Bowie added to her myth. Regarded by some as the reincarnation of Nefertari, indomitable lioness for others, she brought color to the monochromatic standards of the world of fashion. Since achieving success, Iman has become a world-known jet-set figure. Marrying David Bowie added to her fashion icon aura. The couple's appearance makes a party a success. Premieres, exhibitions, galas invade their agendas.
Now, yeah, so what are you talking about, the headband and the gloves?
As rigorous in her outings as she is in her work, she chooses an outfit for a costume party from a huge warehouse where the New York elite have exclusive entry. She's looking for a dress. Iman knows exactly what she wants, and especially what she doesn't want. But beyond the glamour on covers of glossy magazines, Iman bears a unique destiny. The fate of a struggling woman who had to fight for recognition and to remain at the very top.
No.
A life far from the cliches.
No. No. I would be dead if I did not express bad mood or bad feelings. That means I'm not alive. But of course there are. But I don't see my life being different than anybody else's life in that way. I am as human as everybody else. So yeah, there are days that things are not going well. There are disappointments that come one's way. There are setbacks that one comes in one's way. But so I'm not, it would be a lie if I said I have a very good life, yeah.
Her outstanding story starts 40 years ago in Somalia, in the midst of an immense desert running alongside the Indian Ocean at the top of East Africa. In 1972, a revolution burst out, and her father, a well-known diplomat, had to flee the country with his family. Somalia self-destructed in a civil war, a political chaos that continues today to ruin the land and starve the people. At the age of 15, Iman wanders on the road of exile, a wound that will never heal. In 1973, another trauma shatters her life. Iman leaves her parents, now refugees in Tanzania, to pursue her studies in political science in Nairobi, Kenya. Was she thinking of building a life in Kenya?
No, I'm not Kenyan. So Somalia would definitely, I would love to. I mean, my family would love to go back to Somalia, all of them. But, you know, the situation itself is not safe. But yeah, I could. I'm a nomad by heart. I can pack and move to any place and make it my own home. But I have no attachment to Kenya. I mean, you know, as a country, it's a country that took us in, you know, me and my family when we were put in exile. But otherwise, you know, I don't really have that much attachment to Kenya. Wherever I am, I'm still a foreigner.
While studying in Nairobi, she translates tourist leaflets into Italian for the Ministry of Tourism. Alone, far from her loved ones, she is still unaware that this uprooting will dramatically change the course of her life. One day, while walking down the street, the world-famous photographer Peter Beard discovers her.
Oh, the travail.
Peter Beard could have been Phileas Fogg. Friend of Jackie Onassis and Mick Jagger, he is nicknamed the Tarzan of the jet set. Relentless defender of wildlife, he was the last confidant of Karen Blixen, author of Out of Africa. This eternal adventurer is famous for his collage books, sought after by museums all over the world. Iman returns to Nairobi to reunite with Peter. Upon arrival, she immerses herself into Kenyan reality. The country faces political turmoil as upcoming presidential elections approach. She finds herself by pure chance in the middle of a student demonstration in which she participates wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it is.
1 hour's drive from Nairobi is Hog Ranch, Peter Beard's farm.
Oh, great, there he is. Thank you.
This is the place from where Iman's destiny took a new start.
There you are.
I can walk, but barely. How you doing? How long has it been?
Wow, Peter, it hasn't changed. Look at this.
I know. It's
Our
the same
first
old mess.
studio,
It's
yeah.
got a lot more dust.
Oh, well, it's good. It looks more authentic.
This is your studio. This is Iman's bathroom.
Oh, well, it was the smallest bathroom, smallest studio ever, right?
That's absolutely true. Do you recognize your mirror?
Oh, yeah, this is where I used to look at myself when you're taking pictures of me.
Yeah. Had a white sheet in the background.
But some of my pictures are missing now.
I know.
They've gone all to the exhibition in
They've
New York.
all gone to New York for the show.
Yeah. God, I'm going to be able to see it, all those pictures, 22 years later.
Are you coming?
Of course I'm
Okay.
coming. Yeah.
I think you should step back a little bit. Look
Away?
at you. This is heavy
I know,
glamour
it's better now.
already. I can't believe it.
I am much better.
No, I
today.
swear to God, you shocked me, Jen. I really. Come on, come towards me a little bit.
Do I feel somebody like professional now?
I think it's almost scary. It's so great.
How does a photographer like you, for example, know while I was walking in the streets and when you see me and
Okay,
you just
first
say,
of all, the real truth of the whole thing is I'm not really a photographer. I just like subject matter.
Yes.
I would never lay claim to photography. I don't think photography has to do with it. It wasn't as a photographer. I just looked as a normal human, and I could see the height, the neck, the poise, the beauty. I mean, you'd have to be a moron. And when people say, hey, was it you that discovered Iman? It makes me laugh, because it's like discovering Lake Rudolph.
yes. But I remember when I came to New York the first time, the first day I landed there, to me, I thought this was worse than the third world countries.
Yeah.
Because they had a garbage strike,
Yeah.
and there was garbage everywhere. And for me to be going to the place that is supposed to be the capital city of the world, and I thought it had more garbage and junk in the streets than Nairobi.
We did rush you to 960 Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, then I ended up on Fifth Avenue. Yes, but it is a cultural shock to go to New York from here, yeah. It's still, for me also, it's a cultural shock to come here. When I got to here, I didn't know how to react. I feel totally out of place, because it has changed so much.
On October 15th, 1975, Iman arrives in New York. She is cautious and books a return ticket to Africa, fearing that America might not be the land of her dreams. In fact, the fashion industry was not always kind to her. Bethan Hardison was the first friend Iman confided in. Bethan was a model in the 70s and is now the manager of a famous New York model agency. Her customers fight to book her protégés. In this jungle, where jealousy often destroys trust, there grew an indestructible friendship.
Here it's like, you know, you're pushing on the
Yeah, I can see all my...
American Express number 3783. 60.
Iman and Bethan like to meet as often as possible, a chance for them to recall their first encounter.
The very first time was, I worked for a designer named Stephen Burrows, and we had heard about her coming into America, and I wanted to meet her. So I asked if it would be possible to have her come up on a go-see. And so she came up on a go-see, and she was very, very nervous. I mean, you saw as composed as she was by her, say, pride. She had a certain pride and elegance. She was very nervous. And I wanted to help her, so I greeted her in, and she needed to change clothes to see if she fit the garment. And it was very interesting because I took her shoes off and I placed shoes at her feet and helped her into them. And I think that was the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah, I have never worn high heels in my life before, and I was pretending that I knew how to wear them. And I was having a hard time in putting them on. And she got on her knees and put the shoes on for me.
Yeah.
And that's how we became friends.
That's what I wanted to do. Oh, good.
Their complicity helped them to pave their ways towards success. In the USA, models are persistently confronted with hostility, especially when they are black.
We're going to do a little coming out for Adia. All models have to fight against prejudices, that's for sure. As far as racial prejudices, yes, naturally, a black model definitely does, and she has to work much harder, like a black man, black woman in any industry. They have to work much harder at anything that they do.
Why?
Because you have to, no one expects you to be able to do as well, and no one's going to give you a chance. So you have to prove yourself consistently.
In the 70s and 80s, Iman became the darling of the greatest designers, the muse of Terry Mugler and Asdin Alaya. Driven by her thirst for culture, Iman had learned Italian, Russian, and English while still in Africa. She likes to blend together many influences. With the same curiosity, she explores all the aspects of American culture. She's especially fascinated by Andy Warhol's mythical art magazine, Interview. She becomes friends with Ingrid Sishi, the editor-in-chief.
What I noticed immediately about Iman when we met is how, you know, there are not that many people in the world that have an extraordinary sensitivity to different people's approaches. There is nothing bourgeois about Iman, nothing. And she doesn't miss anything. Probably initially, in addition to her great beauty and capacity to be what it takes to be a great model, I think all of those things together propelled her so that she was really able not only to be photographed in so many ways, and not only to be a great subject for fashion photographers, but she was also really able to carry the, frankly, the burden of being so-called the first superstar black model. You asked for one word about Iman? Heaven.
During these roaring years, between photo shoots, parties, and bouts of jet lag, Iman marries American basketball star Spencer Hayward in 1977. She gives birth to a daughter, Zuleika, but the marriage ends in a painful divorce. Iman lives the life of a diva. She acts as she pleases. She indulges in whims. Dragged into a world of luxury and bohemia, between ephemeral relationships and easy encounters, she lets herself go. But in her heart, she's lonesome. She's not happy. Iman doesn't yet know that destiny will strike again, at the peak of her fame.
I think it was like in 1983. And I remember very well,
It was around 10 o'clock at night, and I just had dinner with some friends, and I was on my way back home. And we were on First Avenue, and I think it was around 37th Street. And a drunk driver running a red light hit us. I was taken to the hospital, and I immediately knew because my bones were sticking out of my face, and my whole eye socket was broken. Literally, my face, that half was totally broken. And so immediately I knew that. But trying to find the right doctor to fix me became like a joke in New York, because every doctor, plastic surgeon called me, and it's like, it became like a business deal. Everybody called me because they wanted to fix my face.
When I met Iman, I was amazed at the type of injury that she had, and that she had sort of resolved that she was going to have surgery and that she would have to have a long recovery. And she was very strong at the time. She seemed very brave with what lied ahead. We managed to correct this by making incisions inside the mouth as well as inside the eye, so there were really no scars on Iman's face. And this was very important, not only because of the type of work she does, but especially in anyone who has such a fine, delicate skin and has such discrete structures on their face. You really don't want to make scars on the outside of the face.
No, I never contemplated suicide. It's just what was amazing to me, how everything has changed in 5 minutes. That I might not look the same, I might look like a monster. Then what? In 5 minutes, my whole life was changed. But there is a lesson to be learned. My whole life shouldn't be about my face. And that's what I learned from that experience. It had given me a sense of worth, that everything is not just on the outside, but inside. It definitely, and it has given me faith. I've become more spiritual in that way, that this is what I am given, and it can be also taken away. This is not something I earned. This is a gift.
After this descent into hell, Iman will never be quite the same. She tries to give spiritual depth to her life. She no longer believes in romantic love. Suddenly, David Bowie crosses her path.
I'd seen her from afar on 2 or 3 occasions. We'd actually coincidentally gone to, I think, 1 or 2 plays. I think probably it would have been in London, where I remember her walking down the aisle to her seat. And I thought she was the most fabulous looking woman that I'd ever seen. Never expected to even meet her, which I didn't for many years. And then a friend of ours introduced us at a dinner in Los Angeles. We got married here.
On April 24th, 1992, they marry at St. John's American Church in Florence, Italy. On this occasion, both their families get to know each other. Quite a shock for the Abdul Majids, Iman's family, and for the Johns, David's parents. Their troubled sentimental pasts are forgotten. These 2 divorcees seem to have found true love at last.
I think it's probably made me aware that there actually is such a thing. I think it made I think it made love itself actually concrete. Possibly before then it was just yet another emotion that I could write about in a sort of rather objective fashion, but now I'm in love, and that's absolutely, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Do you contemplate motherhood in the near future, maybe?
As it comes.
Same old thing.
As it comes, yeah.
Me personally, you asking?
Yeah, well,
I think, well, I think the radical difference for me is that I don't feel as driven as I was as a younger man by my work. I still am pretty driven. I guess I resign myself to I've got a burning curiosity for the work that I do, and that flame probably will never be extinguished completely. But I also feel that there's a lot more space and time in my life to fully take part in being a father. I find that I really enjoy being a husband again, and I really am going to look forward to being a father. Very much.
Italy means a lot to Iman. Her father was educated by Italians when Somalia was a colony of the Mussolini fascist regime. Iman and David regularly rent a home in the province of Chianti. David Bowie came to attend the Mostra of Florence. On this occasion, the city becomes a crossroad for artists and creators from the world over. They freely exhibit their work in warehouses, museums, or derelict train stations. While celebrating his 50th birthday last year, David Bowie chose to show this artifact that combines sculpture and video.
I adore Florence. Both of us do. You quite like Florence, don't you?
Yeah, because we got married here.
We got married here. So, of course, there will always be something very special about it. And we've holidayed here a lot. I guess I'm a Renaissance groupie. And so when I come here, I generally drag Iman to, right through from Cimabue to Duccio, and then through Giotto, and then through all the lesser artists. And I stand her in front of different crucifixes and tell her why the hips are like this, or why.
Education.
I give a history lesson.
Did Iman change you the ideas, or maybe the misconception you have about Africa?
I'm more aware that Iman is from where she is from when all the family are around, obviously, because
we all speak Somali.
They speak Somali. So it's one of the few times that I actually get to keep quiet, because I talk a lot.
But it's the same thing when people always ask me, when I'm being interviewed, they say, you know, David Bowie and David Bowie. I feel I'm married to David Jones.
And on that...
On that note...
It's so perfect. I can't believe that.
On the minute, 20 minutes, is it?
That's incredible.
Even fate doesn't affect their happiness.
Incroyable.
I think it really does. It's fantastic.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Listen to Iman. Before I started working with Iman, she looked like this. Now she looks like this.
And she used to talk like this. Now she talks like this.
Basically what I'm saying is buy the videotape. Listen to Iman, the videotape.
Hello, Super Bear. Hi. Hi.
Listen to Iman is the title of the segment presented by Iman in the show hosted by her friend Rosie O'Donnell.
How are you?
This famous entertainer greets major Hollywood stars every day.
You're on French TV, boo-boo.
I was in the makeup trailer the first day, and she was sitting next to me, and I hadn't met her yet. I was very nervous because I'd known of her, and, you know, she's very, very pretty, and David Bowie was outside, and that made me nervous, too. So the makeup artist was talking to her, and he said, "Oh, my God, Iman, I just saw David Bowie outside. He looks just as good now as he did in 1973. And she looked up and she said, "He's with me now, darling. He looks better." Captivatingly exotic. It's 2 words.
In 1992, as Somalia suffers from starvation and destruction, Iman returns to her native land with a BBC TV crew.
I actually went to Somalia to bring hope, to actually put a face on the pain that people are watching. Because I'm Somali, and people, when they see me in America, they don't think of Somalia, they think of Africa. So I went there to educate people, not anything to do about dying, you know, because death will get you if I'm getting into my elevator here, you know, so you do not face life in that way, or you do not hide from life in that way. What happened was that when I landed from the plane to Switzerland, after I finished everything, after I finished the documentary and all that, I lost completely my voice. I went to the hospital. I had a viral disease, but it was, the doctor said it was totally from stress. It's a shock. My body totally shut off. For a week, I couldn't speak. I couldn't lie down because I had a nerve at the back of my back, and I could not. I had to sleep sitting up. And through that, I realized what I was keeping inside while I was there. Because while I was there, I wanted to do what I came to do there. So the shock came for me afterwards, because nothing ever prepared me of what I saw. I saw death everywhere. When you drive into a town and you see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people dead in the street, and lots of children, totally malnutrition. And so nothing prepares you for that. There is nothing in life that prepares us for things like that. So I went there and just had a grip on myself, and I did a documentary, but then after that, that's when I felt it, the shock of it. But I did something. That is the most important thing. I did not sit in my house and say, I can't do anything. That is the most important thing. And regardless what anybody says or criticizes me, oh, she did this for this, for that, I never get any press from it. All I did was do the documentary, show the documentary, bring it to America, take it to the Senate, so that they will send food to Somalia.
Returning to America, she goes to Washington and convinces the government to supply food and aid. Randall Robinson, a high-ranking official, supported her efforts.
She's an exceptionally gifted, bright, strong personality, and she makes herself heard. And so when she called me some years ago, I hadn't met her before. She asked if we could get together and talk about the Somalia crisis, and we came to know each other in that connection, and worked on it together, trying to pursue an American policy that would be constructive and helpful to reach an acceptable outcome for the crisis in Somalia. And she had great influence in the U.S. and on the American public. And when you know Iman, that's easy to see how that would result. She understood the history. She understood the global responsibility for this history, and I think ultimately it had an impact on American policy. And I think it saved tens of thousands of lives.
The American intervention in Somalia was heavily criticized. War is still at rage. Famine kills thousands every day. Going back to Somalia is a dream that may never come true for Iman. As a new American citizen, Iman is heavily focused on domestic political issues. Since the Band-Aid tour, causes need celebrities. Iman starts a crusade for the protection of children.
Good afternoon. My name is Iman. And I stand for children. We stand here today to proclaim that honoring and protecting the family is the foundation we must lay as we work to build an America that is safe for children. for a government and a society that support families and their needs, not just with words, but with actions. God bless you, and thank you.
Here, a few steps away from Capitol Hill, where Martin Luther King galvanized the crowds in the civil rights movement, the Stand for Children Association gathers 100,000 supporters.
That's good. Take care. Take care, sister.
Yes, I'll see you later.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
That's Iman. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman.
Pretty.
Very pretty.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
Go ahead, babe. Thank you. What is your opinion?
What do you think is the most important issue facing children today?
Well, there are very diverse issues facing children. I'm from a third world country. I come from a place called Somalia in East Africa. And to me, it was amazing to see what was happening with the children in America, because it's like being like in a third world country. I mean, when you hear statistics like there is a child every 2 hours dying with senseless violence, and there is a child every 4 hours, trying to commit suicide or committing suicide, and then they say every 5 hours there is a child who dies of neglect and abuse. That's very staggering.
Hi. What's up, sister? Pleasant magazine in person, girl. Hello, girl.
For Iman's security, the association had to provide close protection. This display of force is not to everyone's liking.
Every time I stand for something, and I always hear, yes, all they're doing is just for the publicity. Well, I'll tell you that, what is the next scenario? For me not to do anything. So I'll take the critique. As I said, this is a country that's built on freedom of speech. So if I can speak, so my critical people can say something, anything that they want about it. I don't get a thing out of this. I'd rather, if everything was not going as bad as it is going for children, I'd rather be home. But the importance to me was that I am a mother myself. I have a 17-year-old daughter, but my daughter is a privileged child. And I was so surprised that the amount of children in America that are living in poverty was as comparison to people in the third world countries. So being a mother and being an American citizen now, I was forced to do something about it. I'd like to start a family, but I think I'm going to be July 40, so I think I'm going to be a better mother than I was when I was 23, because when I was 23, I thought spending 2 hours with the kid was enough, but now being almost 40 years old, it makes me feel that my life, I know what my priorities are, and my family and my children will be my first priority, and everything else will have to take a back seat.
Iman spends most of the year in New York, in a flat near Central Park. Tapestry is her favorite hobby, a surprising pastime she discovered as a top model in between two airplanes.
I find it very therapeutical. When I travel a lot, I also do it in airplanes. People are always so surprised to see me, because people always associate, I guess, tapestry or needlepoint with older people. But I'm getting there, So, but I find it very relaxing, very therapeutical. It makes my mind not think of other things, but concentrate on what I'm doing. And so it helps me.
Iman's parents are ill. She asks them to stand by her side. Her father, Mohammed, her mother, Marion, a former doctor, were for a long time refugees in Tanzania. Iman's brothers, Faisal and Elias, still live there. Her younger sister, Nadia, arrived in America 15 years ago.
waxa kan oo dhan wada caatada feer dadku waxay yiraahdaan kuwa waayo qaxootiga Elias midkiisa gooni baan u sameeyay Faisal gooni aniga gooni
All fathers are very possessive. Is it difficult to see his daughter going away?
No. No. No, I am possessive, but I leave her with her life.
What do you mean by you live by her
Means
life?
she do whatever she wants.
I'm feeling my daughter is far away from me.
With
Even
communication,
but we have nice communication. She called me every
day,
every 2 weeks, every 10 days, every weekend. So we have communication, but I'm feeling she's far away from me. I feel sad. I want to see her.
Our life is based was gatherness, to be together, to be one family. This is our culture in Somalia. Even if we go away, we feel that every time with communication, with letters, we are together.
I don't find it very difficult to be close to one's family. I was raised that way. Being an African, that's very, very important to us. And becoming a celebrity, it makes you even more important to stay in touch with your family because, you know, the whole world pretends that they love you, but the only people who really care about you and really love you is your family.
Good morning. How are you?
At the height of her glory, Iman decided to distance herself from the world of fashion. Retiring is a dangerous step for most models, but Iman succeeds as she becomes passionately involved in cosmetics. A new world for a new beginning.
I hear also their climatic, it's different, the weathers. When we are in winter here, there's summer there, vice versa.
Exact opposite.
So yeah, so that will change, of course, the ads that we will have for them there.
But yes, that summer promotion will actually be in spring.
I wanted to create color cosmetics and skincare because a lot of times people think that women of color don't need much of skincare because God has given them this good skin that doesn't age as fast as white women. And in reality is that everybody has the same problems, whether it's pollution, stress, sun damage, so everybody needs to take care of their skin. People of color are not a minority, but we are a majority in this world. And so in terms of business, it was not to say something against them, but is to make a point that there is a group of people that are underprivileged because the industry is not taking care of them. As we get to the end of the millennium, changes are happening and the world is becoming literally a global village. And the mentality that the girl next door is a white blonde is non-existent anymore. You know, who's your neighbor? You know, so basically that the concept is political, but it's not about politics. It's about people's needs and women's needs.
Yeah. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Iman. How are you? Good to see you. Nice to see you.
How are we doing?
Oh, we're doing wonderful. Yeah? Mine is doing very nicely.
In creating Iman Cosmetics, she specifically targets colored people with a unique makeup and skincare range. It's a resounding marketing and financial success.
Am I going to be only somebody who's going to give her name and then let other people do whatever they want to do? No. I was going to lend my name as a licensee, but I control everything.
Because what it is that the only thing I have in life, it's my name. And I take care of it.
Then the makeup artist went to put this like light-colored base on her. She says, no, 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 no. Let me ask you something, darling. Do you have any makeup here for black people? And he goes, oh, no, I really don't. Do you know the name Iman? Do you know the name Iman? Do you know Iman is black? Get the right makeup, then you do my makeup. And she left the trailer. It was a lot of fun.
Of course, she embodies Iman cosmetics, and she has not forgotten any of her top model attitudes, especially regarding dieting.
Breakfast is very important to me, so I eat breakfast, then I eat something around noon, and then I eat something around 3, and then I eat something around 6, and then I eat something around 8. So I don't like to be hungry because I'm in a very fast-paced business that I don't want to neglect my health just to catch up with, with what I'm doing.
Iman must fight against losing weight, but it's not that she likes to deprive herself. She enjoys chocolate and white wine. But as most Africans, she never indulges in fatty foods.
So I would say personally, the most important thing to me is not the diet, it is exercise.
So you ready for your big workout today?
I come from a country that diet is not an issue. Being skinny is not an issue. Young girls always had problems with weight at that time. And they go back up and forth, but I think yes, a lot of times the magazines and the industry, the fashion industry, puts a lot of pressure on the young girls. There's always been an obsession with getting the perfect body, but not necessarily just a perfect body, but the body that is in vogue at that time.
Although she chose to retire, Iman is always very much in demand and occasionally accepts to pose again in front of the camera. She has just been selected to star in the next Donna Karan advertising campaign.
Would you get me Lamar? Yeah. You want music?
Transformed into a stag for a Cartier photo shoot, she has to carry more than 40 pounds on her shoulders.
Beautiful like that. Yeah.
Find him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These jewels are worth millions.
Fantastic.
While most top models see their careers fade when they hit 30, Iman, 40, has kept her aura intact. She's a hard-working woman. Known and respected worldwide, does she feel at home anywhere?
Airplanes. I mean, I travel a lot, so I don't know. I don't have a home. I come from a country which is, the tradition of Somalia is nomadic, so we travel from place to place all the time. And so I have that nomadic feeling in me. I can make my home anywhere I go. So in that way, I'm easy to settle down in a place. I don't have really a place that I'm really attached to it. Wherever my husband is my home.
Iman remains more than anything a true-blooded African. And when she goes shopping in Nairobi, she avoids tourist traps and immediately starts bargaining in the marketplace.
Hello. Yeah, okay, now show me this. But let me see it. That's very nice.
Yeah.
What is it made of?
It's called soft.
Oh, it's very beautiful. Yeah. Now, how much are they? 700. I don't think 700 is too expensive. 700. Not bad. Well, that's nice. No, I don't want a drum. I have my husband doesn't do drums. No, thank you. I'll come back. I'm just looking around first. Okay?
Proud of her origins, would she consider returning to Somalia?
My family would love to go back to Somalia, all of them. But, you know, the situation itself is not safe. But yeah, I could. I'm a nomad by heart. I can pack and move to any place and make it my own home. There is a saying that says you can never go back home. I always think you can always go back home, you know. Because wherever I am, I'm still a foreigner. You know, in America, in Europe, I'm always a foreigner. The only place that I'm not a foreigner is just in Somalia.
And when you're outside Africa, what do you miss from Africa?
The people, basically. Because Africa really is about the people. They're very, very gentle, very, very sweet, very nice people. The people is most of what I miss.
Far from Nairobi, at Peter Beard's place, she likes to re-immerse herself in the authentic presence of this sacred land. Shy, she recalls her teenage years. She was badly wounded when a giraffe hit her head.
Maybe flies in their eyes so far.
Ravaged and ruined by famine, corruption, and war, the current situation in Africa is Iman's utmost concern. She suffers for Africa. If the cradle of humanity is Eden in her eyes, it now seems a lost paradise.
What's happening in Africa is what's killing Africa is Africans. It's time to stop to say that it is everything that's happening to Africa, it's happened because the colonialism. Well, that days is gone. What has Africa done for Africans? That is the question now. You know, and that is my problem with Africa. It's too late and too irresponsible to put the blame in the past. Because who's killing Africa now is Africans.